What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Austin, and thanks for tuning in. So I'm sitting down today with Jeff and Bart. Now we're kind of going to be more or less the MCs for this thing today, and what we're going to be doing, and we'll do a little round robin intro here. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be showing the AMA that we did with OnlyLarping, who is the co-founder of Karate Combat. Unless you've been living under a rock, you know Karate Combat. Even my non-Web3 friends are like, you know, they're goo-goo for Karate Combat. Shit's awesome. So, all right. Ooh, maybe I shouldn't have cussed on our own stream. I don't know. We're having fun today because, you know,
Friday.
We got,
Friday.
It's Friday. I'm going to St. Thomas next week. I'm going to be gone, man. I'm like so freaking excited to go hit the beach. But anyhow, you guys probably don't care about that. You care about what you're here to see, which is the AMA with Karate Combat. So, Bart, let's start with you, man. How you doing, buddy? Good to be back on stream with you.
Yeah, man. I love these. Yeah, we're doing good. You're gonna see some new stuff, obviously, at the end of this that you've been teasing out. So, just excited to show you guys some of the functionality we've been working on with Super Streaming, some of the integrations, right? Working with Taunt, and yeah, just getting it on. I think since we last talked, we were talking about certain things, usefulness. You know, hey. Getting into shopping, getting into mobile. We now have a mobile companion, so you can do follow along functionality. So we've done a lot of product launch up until now, and here's one that we're really happy to kind of early leak out and showcase. You know, this group and just show everyone what a live auction could look like just on a YouTube video versus having to stream over another platform like a Whatnot or a Drip. So we're excited about this one.
Beautiful. Jeff, how you doing, buddy? Man, your internet is great today. It's Thank you. Tremendous.
Thank you.
What are we going to be seeing today after this? So I know we're going to talk about this a little bit in the AMA, and we're going to MC this, but like, what can we kind of expect after the AMA is done with the live auction?
Yeah, so we've been working, like kind of Bart said, we've been, as we're building out the Taunt Live platform and our partnership with Super Streaming is developing and getting deeper. What we really want to do is showcase a little bit about the live auction features that Bart was talking a little bit about. Today, what you're going to see is kind of the Web 2 version of that. So I think we talk a little bit about this in the AMA with Karate Combat, but generally in Asian countries, like live auctions, and it's making its way to TikTok now, is getting very popular, very, very popular in Asia. And so what we're trying to do in partnership with Super Streaming is really start to bring that those functions over to the Web3 side. So how can we utilize this technology in a way that's functional and valuable for example, NFT sales, for meme coin launches, potentially for any type of on-chain based auction style functionality with a live streaming content component, which I think is where our platform can really make some inroads for other projects, other communities, and really show that utility and value that the Taunt Live platform can bring.
Huge. And we're gonna be auctioning off gear from George St. Pierre, from Bass Rutten. We've got a bunch of stuff that we're gonna be doing. And so, call to action here, real quick, guys. And yeah, this was just a screen grab in time, but really what I wanted to show is go to superstreaming.gg and download the browser extension. And when you download it, you're going to see this little add-on below when you come back and access this stream. And it's going to allow you to participate in the auctions that we're doing after we show the Karate Combat AMA. And so, without further ado, I'm going to mute us and hit play on the AMA. Let's get after it, ladies and gents. Here we go. What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Austin, and thanks for tuning in for the next one of the DevvE AMAs. And we have got a doozy for you today, my friends. We're, of course, sitting down with Jeff from Taunt Network, but we are very, very lucky to have OnlyLarping from Karate Combat here with us. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
Awesome. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Doing well. See you again, Austin.
Great to have it. Yeah, thank you, Jeff. Great to see you too, buddy. Hopefully I don't fangirl too much. I'm kind of a Karate Combat fan, and I'm excited to be talking to you guys about this. So let's dive right in. Let's just do some quick introductions just for anyone who is, uninitiated. OnlyLarping, why don't we start with you and then we'll kick over to Jeff.
Yeah, my pleasure. So, co-founder of Karate Combat here. I myself lead the Web3 efforts. We've really bet the entire pro sports league on Web3. So I'm the right person to talk to on that side of things.
Excellent. And Jeff, go for it, bud.
Hey again, guys. Jeff from Taunt Network. We've talked a few times. Taunt Network just enables interactive live streaming using Web3 and blockchain tools. In addition, we have a gaming studio with our first game called Battle World, which is we like to dub the UFC or the metaverse. So very similar to what Karate Combat's doing, but on the metaverse side.
Beautiful. Okay. So I want to dive right into it because OnlyLarping, you mentioned a couple of things that are completely relevant to what we're going to be talking about today. So Karate Combat is a very, very well-known brand. I know it hasn't always been that way. I think you guys started, I want to say around 2018, if I'm not mistaken, but you did mention that you bet kind of the farm on crypto. And I wondered if for anyone, and I don't know that there's many out there, but for anyone that might be watching this that doesn't know who you guys are, how would you give a summation? Like, what's the elevator pitch on KC?
Yeah, for sure. So the league was started in early 2018 by one of my best friends. We built it together to build a sports league for the next generation of fans across every vector. So for instance, on distribution, absolutely zero paywall. Same time it's on TV, we stream it for free on the internet everywhere. Also partner up with some of the biggest streamers in the world. On the rule set, North Star there is build the fastest, most entertaining fight rule set possible. It is called Karate Combat. It ends up looking a lot like the UFC without the ground game, without the wrestling. But also we make the round shorter. The scoring favors aggression. They fight in this crazy pit of ours. So you end up getting tons of knockouts. It's really entertaining. On the production side, the goal is to make every single event look like a real life version of a unique level on a video game. So 2/3 of the events we film in front of 3D VFX environments rendered live in Unreal Engine. And then lastly, on the crypto side of things, I myself have been in the crypto space for over a decade building businesses, but for the first 5 years, we had no crypto overlap. But 3 years ago, we fell in love with this idea that became Up Only Gaming. And the thesis was to accelerate this conversion of very large awareness around the league to real super fans. And so I'll talk about that some more later on.
Yeah, definitely. And for anyone to tie this home, anytime you've seen the videos on Twitter of the pit, right, which is the 45-degree angle surrounding where the fighters are, you probably watched BitBoy fight if you were anywhere on Twitter, right? That's KC, that's Karate Combat. So just to kind of bring this home to something that people will recognize if for any reason you don't. And so OnlyLarping, I'm curious, when you guys started this back in 2018, I would imagine in the last however many years, 6 years, there's probably been quite a metamorphosis that's gone on. And what was the original vision of what you guys were trying to create?
Again, to build a sports league for like younger people. And to build an audience that way. And that meant doing a lot of things differently. One of them is the pit, and that's probably our biggest brand asset by far. You need to have some sort of enclosure for a fight. If you don't, it gets pretty boring because people kind of run away from each other, right? And obviously the ring has been done, the cage has been done, there's problems with each of them. And we came up with this very unique fight surface and actually ended up patenting it. That's really taken off, not just for Karate Combat, also in Jiu-Jitsu. It's sort of taking over Jiu-Jitsu. And there's some major advantages to it.
Excellent answer. And so I was watching Bass Rutten on Rogan, kind of giving like a breakdown of how Karate Combat works. And I'm interested to know, like, what role does he and GSP, what do they play in the overall vision of Karate Combat?
Sure. I mean, Bass Rutten is the chairman of Karate Combat. He's announced every single event we've had since day one, except for one when he was filming a movie with The Rock. So he's super involved. And then George St. Pierre, arguably the greatest fighter of all time, we call him one of our senseis. He announces about one of every 2 or 3 events, and he's also pretty involved in the league. He absolutely loves Karate Combat and karate. That's sort of the story there. He's been with us for a few years.
Now, I do want to dig a little bit further into the pit because I think this is something that really is unique to what you guys are doing, and it actually kind of changes the style of fight that
Definitely.
takes place. Whereas people are the cage is ubiquitous, right? Everyone knows what the cage looks like in UFC, but the pit is something completely different, and it gives like you have to have, to put it in the words that I heard Bass use, you kind of have to have a spatial awareness
Definitely.
when you're in that fight. Could you dive a little bit more into like how that alters the battle?
Sure. So you really do not want to get backed up against the pit wall. If your back's on the pit wall, you're not a grounded opponent, and it's really hard to get off of. So it forces the fighters to stay towards the center of the fighting surface, which is, I think, one of the reasons the fights are so fast paced and there's so many knockouts. And then obviously you can try and do some pretty cool moves off the pit wall, which people do periodically.
One of the rules I noticed that differentiates you guys from USC is there's no like on the ground, almost wrestling style, right? They hit the ground and they're back up, which is something completely different from what people are kind of used to.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest complaint from casual fight fans when they watch the UFC is the time on the ground. And so I think it makes sense for someone to try and remove that and run a different kind of fight sport that way. It also lends itself to recruiting fighters from a different fighter pool. Grappling's pretty dominant in the UFC, PFL. And so if you have a different rule set that really heavily favors strikers, you can also pull from a different talent pool that might not, win the belt in the UFC, but could win the belt and defend the belt against anyone almost in the UFC in karate combat.
Beautiful. And so I do want to pivot us just a little bit here because there is going to be a live auction that's running with this. And you mentioned earlier, you guys really kind of bet the farm on crypto, right? You coming from a crypto background, you guys transitioned over to a DAO. You're community governed from what I understand. You've got the karate token with the up only gaming. Can we dive a little bit into how that works and kind of what the vision for that was?
Sure. So the vision behind it was all around what we call up on the gaming. So Karate Combat has this very large awareness. We got like 6 million followers. We get hundreds of millions of views on the internet every month. But converting that awareness to true super fandom where the real money is in sports is not trivial. It ordinarily just takes like a lot of time or a lot of money. And we think with our demo of younger fans, there may be a shortcut by financializing things. Because if you poll them, almost half of them will tell you that they don't enjoy watching sports unless they have a bet on it. And so the dream was, imagine if we could get a little bit of financial upside on every single fight to every one of our fans. If we could pull that off, hopefully we can get them researching these slightly lesser known fighters ahead of time, learning their names, their backgrounds, their narratives, the things that are really important to get someone to truly care about the outcome of a sporting event. And so that was the driver behind it. The way it works is before each event, every karate token holder very easily, using our mobile apps, can vote on which fighters they think are going to win. And when they vote on winning fighters, they earn a little bit more karate token from a fixed karate prize pool on each event. So super important for a sports league that's in real life, having sporting events in the US and mainland China and UAE. This is not gambling. You're not risking losing the tokens you have, but hopefully this kind of small financial incentive is enough to get you to do that self-started research on the athletes themselves.
On that, if I could just pick your brain real quick on that a little bit. So as coming from a crypto background, reviewed dozens, if not hundreds of different tokenomics papers. My question to you is, are we in a perpetual inflation cycle, or due to the DAO and the way that the governance is working, does it kind of fall into the hands of your more dedicated fans?
So it does fall into the hands of the more dedicated fans. I would say a couple things. Number one, the issuance is quite small. Like right now, the run rate is like 1.5% per year for up on the gaming. You're not doubling your money when you play. Also, all the issuance goes right back to the existing token holders. There's no way to farm it. So it's a little bit like a mind game. You're just sort of rearranging the deck chairs, very, very, very slowly diluting the people who don't play and giving more governance power to the people who are active. And I think that's exactly what you want to do with the crypto scheme. I think, there's this kind of like path dependent scarcity mindset from Bitcoin, but incentives are like the superpower of crypto tokens. And if you kind of hard cap them forever, you're really kind of kneecapping one of the best parts of crypto.
I think a lot of people don't really understand that, in the world of finance, a little bit of inflation is not a bad thing. It's an economic stimulator for most environments. And Jeff, I want to kick over to you, buddy. Engagement, clearly we've been talking about engagement tools, right? The whole kit and caboodle. And that's kind of your forte. That's where Taunt Network really lands. And so tell me how you guys are working together in the background.
Yeah, it's crazy because I've been talking, I think me and Only have been talking for at this point almost a couple of years.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out how to best partner with. And I will say this: Karate Combat's just amazing to partner with. They're so easy, like, you know, in terms of using their IP, in terms of using their media, in terms of, you know, potential, you know, partnerships to use our tools and things like that. And so, you know, we've kind of been developing, you know, how best to work with each other. Of course, why I love our tool sets is because we really try to be additive, right? So, for example, you know, Up Only Gaming is doing their thing. We don't want to do anything that would cannibalize what they're doing on that side. So what we're trying to do is, you know, kind of manipulate our tools to make sure it is completely additive to kind of what they're doing. Some of the things, even what we're doing in, you know, in terms of like proof of concept for this stream, specifically with the live auction pieces, is something super cool where, you know, we think we can actually offer, you know, merchandise in show, merchandise, you know, in content stream through our tool sets that actually will sell additional Karate Combat merchandise. And that's what we're trying to show off, you know, during today's stream and things like that. But there's a multitude of ways we're exploring how to partner Karate Combat, both on the IP side, in the real world legalized wagering side, on the engagement side, and then in the live merchandise side.
Beautiful. And, you know, Karate Combat has just kind of become such a brand that, you know, if you live on Twitter like I do, right, you know these guys and you know that they're a brand that people love. And it's excellent viewing entertainment. And so, like, Only and I were just talking about, you know, if you poll, you know, this generation, 50% of them have no interest in sports unless they're betting, right? And so with the tokenized engagement that Taunt Network brings, I mean, that is really in the same vein of, all right, so these guys have a bet on it where they can win karate tokens, but, you know, that could be the sort of thing where, all right, they make the bet, they research the fighters, but they're not actually, maybe they are, but it's really not a guarantee that they've got eyes on, right? And every kick live on the screen. And so how would integrating Taunt Network tools into that actually help with that engagement real time? I'll put it a different way, right? So, all right, let me just gonna take a random thing. Let's say I want to bet on, I don't know, the Yankees to win the World Series, right? I might place the bet, but not necessarily watch the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have an interest in it, but my eyes are not on the game, which means, you know, whatever advertisers are there, they're not necessarily getting my attention. I'm not watching it play by play. But if we've got things on screen, questions popping up, live auctions that are happening, things where it requires my attention in real time, right? It kind of is like an icing on the cake. And that I was driving towards, like, how can Taunt Network play a role in that specifically?
So I think, again, just going back to that theme of being additive, like, if you look at what, you know, Up Only is trying to do, it's trying to be use that almost a gambling type mechanic, although it's like OnlyLarping said, it's not gambling, right? Because you can't really lose anything at that point. But they're trying to use that mechanic to drive the engagement pieces, which is great. So, you know, it's almost, think of it as a, you know, almost as a free to play betting type mechanic, right? In theory, the tools we're building can fill in the gaps across the board on top of that, right? Some partners, we actually need what they've already produced with Up Only Gaming on top of everything else. But for like a partner like Karate Combat, who's a little bit further down the road and much more savvy on like interactive engagement tools, they don't need to use the full suite. We can add the rest of the tools, like live merchandise sales in show, for example. So think about rather than just watching the show and then having to go, oh, I really like those gloves that they're using in the match, and then having to go all the way over to the Karate Combat side. What if you could just one click buy it right on the stream, right? That's what our tools will facilitate. Same thing with actually real money wagering. Let's just say you're in a locale that allows that to happen. Karate Combat, you know, doesn't necessarily want to facilitate that themselves. And so, you know, if we have a partner that would say, hey, on this match, I want to see who's going to win this next fight, and, you know, they're in a locale that can do it, you can click a button and be right there to do that. So our goal is really to facilitate things that, you know, some of our partners technically can't necessarily do, not cannibalize what they're already doing, and make it additive to their ecosystem. And I love that idea that OnlyLarping said about making a super fan. That is how you do it. Kind of, you know, once you've engaged past the point of a passive viewing experience into a more active viewing experience, you're probably 75-80% of the way there to developing that super fan, who then will come back to your content, who will share your content, who will buy your merchandise, who will do all of those things. But you have to get them out of that passing viewing experience into a more active one. And that's our goal for all content creators.
And only I'm curious. So if I'm not mistaken, you guys are set up as a DAO. And I mean, again, if I think to myself, okay, Dana White, if he just one day said, screw it, UFC is going to be a DAO and we're going to let people govern how UFC runs, I would fall out of my chair. My head would roll off my shoulders onto the floor, right? It would be such a monumental move to make. And I'm wondering, you guys bill yourself as a fan governed striking league. How does that actually work in the background? Because that is a pretty monumental thing for a large brand.
Yeah, so we don't typically call it a DAO, but it's very similar. Usually we describe like how it actually works legally. So before we issued the token, we did something very radical. We sold the entire league to an ownerless foundation. We structured the foundation such that the directors of the foundation take direction from the token holders about most everything. In practice, the way it's worked is over the last year and a half, we've had about 12 governance votes, mostly to date on different rule changes for the league itself, changes to up-only gaming, liquidity incentives on chain. But over time, you could see the token holders, and we've had a lot of participation. We usually get like 3,000 to 7,000 votes per governance vote. And over time, you could see the token holders becoming more and more informed and speaking up more and more about how like the league is run. And I don't think it's that crazy for sports leagues. All sports leagues are pretty weird, to be honest. UFC is a little bit unique that it is like actually owned by a public company. Most sports leagues are way weirder. So like the NFL is run by like 32 billionaires, 32 votes. And so I don't see any reason why 100,000 token holders couldn't do the same job.
Here. All right. So for anyone watching, if you want to participate in a live auction, we're going to talk about that here in just a second. Go to superstreaming.gg, download the Chrome browser extension. That's going to give you the ability, if you haven't done that yet, hopefully you've already done that before we even started. And I want to talk about the live auction. Can we dive into what that is, how that's working exactly so that people have the information?
Absolutely. So how that's going to actually work, if you, a lot of the tool sets we put together, I don't know if you're familiar, Austin, with TikTok live auctions or live auctions in Asia. It's a very, very popular mechanic that hasn't actually, made it big yet into kind of the Western world. But in essence, think about if there's a content creator who then, takes actual live auctions, and then it's literally just a live bidding auction that you would have like you'd see in kind of real life, right? The cool thing with this first integration around this is we've got some really cool kind of merchandise from Karate Combat, signed merchandise, things like that I think will be, really great for their community and any kind of MMA fan in general. And, our goal really is to kind of, this is probably only the third or fourth time we've tested this tech at scale. So, we're really out there, trying to make, positive optimizations to this, and get some real-time feedback from, community members about how easy the flow is. But we really want to take that kind of live auction mechanic and make it bigger, specifically in Web3, because if you start to think about our use cases, again, thinking about the Taunt Network use cases, and even partners like Karate Combat who are more Web3, savvy and enabled in that world, is things like NFTs and the way we can do that. It's a new way to market, NFT drops in general. It's a new way to even think about if Karate Combat wanted to sell off, one major decision making or 10 votes, right? For holders to make, one major decision within a broadcast. They could do that right through a live auction, which would, get the community together. From what we can tell, and what I think everybody knows, is live content just does significantly better for the most part from an engagement perspective, or basically mimic live content, right? And so when you can get people together with that social mechanic, with kind of a hook at the end of it, with all of that being live, the engagement numbers go skyrocket, right? And so we do believe, selling merchandise and special experiences, special events and things like that in a live format, which is already a proven mechanic in Asia, will do really, really well when you start to incorporate that with decentralized features, with blockchain features, with cryptocurrencies in a manner that would be, that would actually change how fundamentally how some blockchain products are marketed and sold.
And forgive me if I go off on a tangent here, but as you were talking and as you were speaking about, okay, you could buy 10 votes or maybe how, a specific rule is laid out, I started thinking about the old choose your own adventure books, and like you could do live auctions with somebody, I mean, who knows, right? You get one of these 20-year-old TikTokers and they got two gross things in front of them. And it's like, which one are you going to eat? Whichever one gets the most money. Like the potential of that is out of this world for engagement. It never even occurred to me that was like a possibility.
Even going even further, I know, Austin, you focus more on the coin side, but even on the coin side, think about running like a, which is relatively popular these days, and more so in the past, but still fairly popular. It's like Dutch auctions, right? For new token launches and things like that. Think about, rather than some in the shadows entity that's launching a new token, with a bunch of influencers who are sitting there talking about it, kind of passively on Twitter or whatever, you really have a spokesperson who can actually run like a live Dutch auction, right, all the way through, that's going on, really talking about the token, talking about utilities, talking about all of those things in real time, getting the hype around it, and then executing that same functionality, which on the token side, is in general better for the economy, but more so from a marketing and even information distribution side, it would be much better for that than scurrying around Twitter, hitting forums and things like that and getting that information. So things like that, I think, what we're trying to do with the live auctions and things like that will be, and hopefully this will show that even to some degree once we kind of execute this, will help on the Web3 side and really show people, the power of live content combined with interactive streaming, combined with blockchain technology.
Amazing. So one thing I wanted to ask, can we give kind of like a play-by-play or a more in-depth explanation of what people watching this can expect from the live auction? Like, what is this going to look like? How to participate in all those things?
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll just have to download the Google extension, which we talked about. We're auctioning off for signed merchandise items for that are karate combat items. Each item will be just auctioned off separately. You can basically, you'll see us, Austin, you'll be kind of running the live auction. You'll kind of see, prompts to actually bid on those auction items. You can do that. And right now we're only doing really, credit card at this point with our Google extension. So you can pay with your credit card, do all that stuff in a normal kind of Web 2 fashion. In the future, we'll offer Web3 options, in general. And so we will just go right one item and just live auction them off. You'll be able to see who's winning those auctions kind of in real time. So that the whole experience is kind of gamified to some degree. And again, the goal is to show, the world what could actually happen with, this product that sits on top of a, live interactive content. And, we'll make those optimizations from there. But just think of it as I don't know if you guys have been able to do a live auction in real time when, somebody raises their card. It's a digital version of that. That'll happen in real time.
Unbelievable. Gentlemen, I think we hashed this out really, really well. Anything you guys want to touch on before we kick this off?
I'm ready.
Let's do it, man. Here we go. Live auction. My name's Austin. Thanks for tuning in, guys, with Only and Jeff from Taunt Network. And we'll kick it over to you guys. Big shout out to the production team there, man. Good job, Brad. Brad's our man in the back screen there. Good. All right, good. That went great. One thing I love about this, and again, this is just a technological demonstration, but I love it that it just works, right? It's not the sort of thing where you've got to have, a degree in rocket, physics or something like that to actually operate. It just works. And so I wanted to kick on screen real quick. I had to pause the YouTube video because if I didn't, we would just have the infinite screen of death. But what I wanted to show was this down here and kind of kick through what people should be looking at if they went to superstreaming.gg and downloaded the extension. And so down here below, you're going to see a couple of things, right? The fight shorts signed by Lyoto Machida. We've got the gi signed by Bass Rutten, the gloves by GSP. And we have the belt signed by Wonder Boy. And if you come over here and you click the little lines and you go up and click this guy here, that's where the auctions are going to pop out. So is that kind of everything that people really need to know for this to kick off, guys? Anything else?
I think just two things. Your auctions, that auction box you have open there, that's where you'll track if you win a bid, right? So you'll see your item there. Now remember, as Jeff said, this is Web 2, but we are basically fully integrated into Shopify, right? So what's going to happen is when you win your bid, it's going to let you know that you're the winner. And then you're going to have that item have a pay now link, and it's going to open up a direct way to buy, secure the item at your specific price point, unique only to you in the Shopify store. So it's a kind of a two-step process. If you win the bid, then you need to go in and secure the item by making your payment, right? And then once you do that, the box you have here, Austin, will show your item and it'll show the status. So as soon as that is there, you'll see it clicked, you'll see it submitted, fulfilled, all those steps will then show up for you. So it's a way to track it, but the key thing is if you win, and you'll know you win, then you have to basically get to the point to make your to secure it with your actual payment, right? Now again, in the Web3 world, the cool thing is if your wallet's connected, then when you win the bid, it's a one button click to have your karate coin pay for the item. There's like a radically awesome integration path that we're working through and toward, but for now, to exhibit the features and to show the live aspect of it, as Jeff said, you still got to Web 2 it a bit, but it is very cleanly with a nicely certified Shopify store. So
yeah, and then just to jump on what Bart said, it's actually, this is even the purchase path is a great use case to show why the Web3 utility in this process side by side is just much easier and better, right? So everything Bart just talked about is you made a bid, you have to go and fill out a bunch of information at that point. What happens if, I'm using this as an example, somebody's credit card got declined right at that point, but they're ahead on the bid? What happens to that item? Does it go to the second person, the third person, the fourth person, whatever, right? But the transparency of who won that bid and things like that becomes a bit muddled to some degree and takes some reconciliation. On the Web3 side, there's none of that. It's tied to a smart contract. You bid, it takes your money. All of that, it goes through immediately. You know who purchased it on a wallet piece, and that function on that side is just so much cleaner and easier to integrate, versus the Web 2 side. But the point of this exercise and why we're kind of doing that is both to show how easy of a use case this could be for potentially Web 2 partners who either accept tokens and or have their own token long term, and also from on the Web 3 side to allow access to a bigger audience, right? So maybe again, maybe it's an NFT sale that has some major brand associated with it. Maybe they are not Web 3 savvy, never going to become Web 3 savvy in the near future, but there's still a path for them to purchase any type of merchandise, NFT item, token, or whatever without them getting outside of their comfort zone.
Yeah, and
unreal.
And again, from Super Streaming's perspective, we don't care what payment platform you're using. We don't care if you're using Coin. We don't care if you're Web 2. We don't care if you're Web 3, right? Our magic is like, hey, you got a stream coming up. We're going to give you all these tools to showcase some really awesome limited edition merch. We're going to let people have very cool auction functionality that's out there in Asia, as Jeff said, and starting to come into the States. And now you can use that. And then we'll plug into whatever payment scenarios or blockchain you want, right? You want to stay to the Web 2 game? No problem. We got Shopify apps to do that. Right. You want to get into the Web 3 game? No problem. You go through Taunt Live, we'll integrate right there.
Yeah. And then, specifically even drilling down more specific for us and our partners on the gaming side in Web 3, what you're going to be able to see now is while we're doing, real world merchandise, our vision is to take the infrastructure that we're testing today and then bring that to the digital side, which we believe is the low hanging fruit. So now do everything what we're talking about, but rather than Karate Combat merchandise, it's an in-game item that you can purchase. It's sent directly to your account, whether that's by smart contract or by centralized server. But in essence, think that changes fundamentally how content creators then now can create the content pieces. They can monetize pieces. Maybe they're getting an affiliate fee as they're selling it, right? While they're doing what they would normally do, which is basically streaming, right? All of that's all facilitated by the Taunt Live platform and the interactive features and all of that stuff. So
unreal. And as you guys are talking about this, and I started getting like kind of excited about this when we were doing the AMA with Only, but I'm thinking of guys like, you know, I mean, let's take, you know, Mr. Beast. I think he got canceled, but I don't know who gets canceled because I'm too old to know. And so, but like this dude would run, you know, trains off of tracks and blast through Lamborghinis, and he does a whole lot of charity stuff. And I'm just picturing him like, you know, a Lambo and a Ferrari lighting them on fire. Like whoever can bid the most, that's what we're going to destroy. And then like donate it all to charity or some like what's so cool about this is it's underlying technology. It's not beholden to selling signed gloves from GSP. Right. It could be whatever the hell you want to do with it and make it fun. And I absolutely love that. So I wanted to just real quick show off, and I'm going to kick this back up there, not because I like seeing our faces, although you guys are great, but I wanted to throw this really lame overlay on so we can talk real quick. So we've got the gloves from George St. Pierre. Even people not, you know, into combat sports have probably at least heard that name. Anything we need to know about any of this stuff, or it's just pretty cut and dry? What we're going to see on screen is exactly what's going to be auctioned off.
Yeah, exactly. And again, special thanks to Karate Combat for helping to facilitate this. But all the items we got, you know, we received from Karate Combat are all from their ambassadors, which are all major names in MMA, right? So obviously George St. Pierre is arguably the top GOAT MMA fighter, you know, of all time. Lyoto Machida was, you know, UFC lightweight heavyweight champion. So, you know, Wonder Boy challenge for the UFC, one of I think the welterweight title or middleweight title. And Bas Rutten is one of the founders and you know, made, you know, MMA popular in the United States and a founder of Karate Combat. So, you know, these are all really high-end items. I think it shows. You know, again, thank you to Karate Combat for showing their commitment to helping us secure these items in terms of our partnership with them directly. But it should be, you know, all of these items are really high end, you know, really unique. And, you know, hopefully whoever gets them, you know, has a good time with them. And I think everybody in the MMA community and the Karate Combat community see the value.
Beautiful. Should we kick this off, gentlemen? I think,
Yeah.
Are we ready, Bart? Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's hold up the shorts there. I think shorts are the first item. So let's roll the shorts. All right. And like we said, Leo Machida signed them, and these will be available again for those of you guys on the extension. Look in your bottom left corner. You'll see everything enable and the auction go live. This will be for 2 minutes. And happy bidding. So
yeah,
happy bidding.
And then while that's kind of going live, Bart, can you kind of run through too kind of how some of the features that happens in the actual live auction think about it in a scenario where there's like rapid fire pieces. Like I know in some of the other live auctions that you've tested, we've seen some things where the timer extends on every bid and things like that. Can you talk about like a little bit of, you know, about how the tech helps facilitate that engagement?
Yeah, so there's in taking some of the live auction best practices from Asia, right? They tend to use smaller time windows, so they'll run it for, you know, a minute or less, 30 seconds. And then what they do is they have what they call popcorn bidding, right? So if more people are bidding at the end, then they extend the auction, right, timeline wise. So the hope there is like, hey, they're getting, you know, people are coming in, and then, you know, because you're doing it live, you can see everything bidding up, and Super Streaming gives you the ability as the streamer, the creator, to see the bids coming in real time, so you can hype up your audience and do all that kind of great stuff, right? So again, the cool thing here is all those configurations are there, right? So, you know, popcorn bidding, you know, reserve, all the things that you see, and as Jeff mentioned at the top of the call, in like a live, you know, hold up a card. Well, there's reserve bids or auto bidding or all these types of things. Those are all baked into the live auction product, right? So what you can do with it, you know, again, doesn't have to be an item, can be tickets, right? It can be, we were talking about, tickets for access, exclusive access, and then, allowing people to put in, coin or whatever to get access to something, actually play a game of UFC wrestling video game with one of these guys as an example, right? And the ticketing aspect of, who wants to get into that server, all that can be managed, in a live auction scenario and with this tech, right? So.
Excellent. And question for you guys while this is clicking down. I know you had mentioned something to me earlier, Bart, that, if there's a bidding war going on, the bid could kick it forward 10 seconds, right? So it kind of allows somebody to notice they've been outbid and to rebid. Is that accurate in that way?
Yeah, and it's both for the user's perspective, right? So they know that they're seeing, oh, okay, now, it gives me time, right? So it's not just like someone outbid you at the last second, right? It gives you time to respond is the first way to do it. But then the other thing is, and then it obviously encourages, additional value for the creator, for the people who are auctioning the items, right? Which is like, hey, if people are really looking to, people are wanting to kind of secure this item, it gives them that extra time to drive the demand, right, and to drive the engagement. So it's kind of a nice setting that people have tended to use that way, right?
Awesome. And it looks like we did tick down. So is that the winner there? There it is.
There's
Nick is the winner.
Yeah, perfect.
All right. So I'm going to kick over. So I did a little Control Plus so we could see this a little bit better here. So we've got the signed Guy from Bass Rutten about to go live next, if I'm not mistaken.
Here we go. We'll put this live in about 3 seconds. Here we go. And again,
and there we go.
And to talk about features, like we have both automatic, right? So you could run automatic bidding where and timing of the item. So hey, make this item live at a specific time, make this next live item at a certain time. Or you could have, what we're talking about in terms of control to the creator. So these tools, it's very, very simple tools. We have them that will both be in if you're a Shopify storefront, it'll all just be within your Shopify storefront. So it's really nice and plug and play to where your items actually are, right? Your products. Or you have a web-based, a mobile, and a desktop-based little tool to just manage your auction. So we have them both. Very similar to existing tool sets out there, Drip, whatnot, if anyone's familiar in the live auction space.
And I do know, so I mean, it's the auction is obviously the feature that we're showing off today, but there are many other features. Like when we did the debate night, right? We had trivia night where questions went along the bottom and you could win prizes. But I know there's also ways of, like, let's say you wanted to sell products. And my question to you, either Bart or Jeff, if I was, again, I'm thinking as a content creator here, and I'm kind of thinking on outlandish use cases because those are the ones that get millions of views. But like, if somebody was saying, okay, if we could get to, I don't know, $10,000, right, raised, I will, I don't know, parachute off a cliff or something. Is there a way to do that sort of, I don't even know if we call it an auction style, but it's kind of like where you could crowdsource this sort of thing. We could crowdfund this guy doing something idiotic because that's the type of stuff I like to watch. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, because again, the wonderful thing about any of these e-commerce platforms is they have digital goods, right? It doesn't have to be an actual item itself. You can create a asset both at a it's just an object, right? So you can bid on an experience. You can bid on you could run donations with this, right? Like we had some people approach us recently about, hey, can I, have people donate to move forward, right? Like donate while the creator is on the golf course, and as if the bid creeps over 500, the golfer has to run around with his pants down or something, right? Something totally fun like that. So, and I know Jeff has talked about things in game, right? So it's like, hey, you want to be able to vote, right? Well, live auction is just an extension of voting, right? Like what people are doing right here is they're voting, okay? They're just voting with their money and they're voting with their wallet. So if you can imagine people voting on yes, no for this arena in Taunt Battle World, yes, no to be able to have this power up live this week, It's very similar functionality, right? But the cool thing is you guys are seeing it happen literally live on the stream that we're doing right now, and it's not disruptive. It's very additive to the stream.
Amazing. And so we've got the gloves from GSP about to go live. It looks like, is that accurate? Are we going to kick these off?
Yeah,
I think so.
Here we go.
Damn.
We're going. Here we go.
And now when these go live, I want to ask you guys. So I know that, you know, when we did the debate night, mobile functionality really wasn't available, but I know you guys have made like a lot of technological strides in that department recently. Can you kind of explain what this, like, can I pick up my cell phone and interact with this, or how does it work?
Yeah. So on the debate night, it was the question. So Super Streaming has three main functionalities, right? We have a games, engagement games, fun games, trivia, prediction, what we did at the debate. We have shopping, which is shopping for regular items, right? Just fixed price items. And then this live auction functionality, which is what you're seeing now. And then we have kind of some other like affiliation, right? So, send people to do a certain activity, and then you're getting rewarded for, viewing, or, I'll call it affiliation, right? Like betting is one way to think about it, wagering, right? Hey, so-and-so creator is a ambassador of DraftKings, so go and, ride his picks over at DraftKings, right? So we have kind of three main areas. The mobile experience will support all the areas, right? And we've built it both so you could consume it in stream, right? As well as you can take it as a companion. So if you were actually at the Karate Combat event in the stands and you had our mobile product, you could be bidding on the auction right on the stage.
Damn.
Right? So it's both companion at a live event, as well as companion for if you're just a lot of people broadcast YouTube or Twitch to their TV, right? And it's a way to follow along there. So we have all of that. That's there and live now. The auction functionality is being brought in at the end of the month, but the shopping and the game functionality, if you go to mobile.superstreaming.gg, it's all up there. We're running some weekly fun, Amazon gift prizes right now on NFL and some NBA stuff.
Yo, I keep getting outbid. I feel like I'm at a disadvantage because everyone can see when I'm about to hit bid now. It's like, right, and I'm going to do it again, but I won't do it anymore. So if anyone outbids me now, you have my word. I'm going to leave it alone. Not because it's not worth it, because it totally is, but because I can definitely see how people seeing my screen are being a disadvantage. Yeah. Wait, did I win? Tell me I won, dude.
You're nearly. It'll let you know.
Oh, did I win? Man, I'm such a goof. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not gonna do buy now on screen because I gotta enter all my stuff.
Don't be doing that.
All right, let's go to the next one.
Got the final one, and again, if anyone who watches this or watches the recording afterwards, we got FAQs. I'm happy to take questions directly. Hit us up at superstreaming.gg. We have support at Superstreaming. Just put my name in the subject line. Happy to answer questions. It's super cool. And also reach out to Jeff. If you guys especially any Web3 audiences are watching this and you see use cases for yourself, reach out to Jeff or myself, and Jeff can help assist on the Web3 kind of integration, discussions as well. So.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing so I can pay for these gloves, but let's keep it going. So we've got the belt by Wonder Boy coming up.
Final item, the belt's up now, guys.
Cool. All right, I will go back to sharing then because it kicked me to another screen, which is excellent. That's what I wanted to happen. All right, cool. Wonder Boy, bada bing. All right, I'm going to go check out. Oh, dope. I love it. This is easy. Man, this is a nice. Oh, this is so easy to pay, dude. I
just have to say that's unscripted, everyone. That's unscripted comment.
Yeah, that was unscripted, man. I wanted those gloves.
It is easy, isn't that? And that's the way, of course. So to Jeff's point, that was easy on the Web 2 side. You go 2 buttons back. That's one click on the Web 3 side. Like that's just dumb, easier dumb. right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is the cool part, right? Is you can see how this can kind of get addicting and fun, right? Like if you put up these things.
Absolutely. Yeah, dude. I just paid with Amazon. It was simple. It was 2 clicks and we were done. And I didn't even have to I thought I was gonna have to enter something in on the screen. I didn't know what was gonna go on. I didn't know it was gonna be as simple as go into like a Shopify checkout, which, I do that every time. I don't even use Facebook unless I plan to like shop for crap I don't need because their algorithm's really good. But they're all Shopify stores, every damn one of them. And so it's very, very, very easy. Okay, where are we at? 65 on the Wonder Boy belt. Hola, Orda. I know that name. What's going on, my brother or sister? I don't know if you're a guy or girl. We're getting there. All right. 27 seconds. Count it down. Man, this is fun. This is, now that I bought something, I'm invested. Here we go.
There you go.
Here we go.
And the last thing, guys, for the winners, right? Just remember, we got to get these things signed, so the fulfillment process will be a bit longer. So you'll get your order confirmation. We'll give you the updates, but it actually has to get to the person to actually get it signed and over to you guys. So just a bit longer on the fulfillment. So be patient there, but we'll definitely be able to keep giving you guys updates on where it's at.
Man. Oh, I think we have a winner. Do we have a winner? Looks like we might. I can't believe somebody didn't outbid me on 115. I really am like a little bit flabbergasted on that. All right. We did. You got it. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like I can return back to regular size screen again. Whew, there we go. Great job. All right, we crushed it. I have to say that worked flawlessly, guys. That was really, really, really cool. Endless use cases for this, like endless freaking use cases. All right. Anything else you guys want to say? I think we crushed it. I think we did a really, really good job. I'm going to go eat lunch now. Anything else?
That was great.
No, look, just again, I appreciate, thanks Austin, Jeff, and Karate Combat for you guys listening at home, just to give us the ability to put up some cool things and let people, actually bid on things of like value and that will be one of a kind for them, like the signed gloves and the gear. You kidding me? Like that stuff that gets put in a frame, right? So that's awesome. And again, any feedback, welcome back this way. Anyone interested in any use cases, you're talking to some pretty creative people on this call. So we're can-dos, and let us know.
Amazing. Jeff?
Cool. I want to leave everybody with just, just a couple of thoughts on this. I've read some, you probably saw it too, Austin. There's a bunch of chatter a few weeks ago on crypto Twitter around how coin sinks are basically the new burns, right? For tokenomics. So, I truly believe that to some degree. Of course, burns are nice and things like that, but for projects that are looking for real ways to bring utility to at least their tokenomics, right? This right here is one feature that can really do some really cool things no matter what your project does. And again, conceptually, the end product that the user could, receives could be merchandise, could be digital items, could be voting power, could be anything you could potentially think of. And from a sustainability perspective, my crypto Web3 self, version of myself is really excited about that, because as creative as you can get within the confines of, being, authentic to your project, this tech between Taunt Live and Super Streaming, what we're building and interactivity can be basically be your utility burns at this point. So that's something I want to leave everybody with. And, as we, we're gearing up towards, our own token launch and everything we're doing in gaming and things like that, I think as we look at other projects past gaming and GambleFi and, in those mechanics that are right, the low hanging fruit that are right in front of us, other projects should look at this tech that, and see, look, if burns, which are, 21, 22 strategy are still valuable, or they're losing, even better way to look at it, they're losing value in terms of how to communicate that value back into potential token buyers and things like that. Utility sinks, and which can be facilitated by technology like ours on the Web3 side, is the new wave, and we should embrace that. And you should figure out how we can do this and get in touch with Bart and I, and we can help you.
You know, I did have one question I wanted to ask, since I know, you know, Jeff, you're kind of like the Web3 plug for this badass technology. Again, don't mean to use bad language, but it's just going to happen. So, you know, one way of doing token generation events is obviously this bonding curve, which I'm not even going to start to talk about how a bonding curve works, because I don't have a freaking clue, right? But if you've ever been on, you know, any of these sites, like whether they're Dexes or Pump.fun or whatever, right? They all do the bonding curve thing. And I would imagine this type of technology could be used for a token generation event or a pre-sale or something of that nature. Am I right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's literally, that and NFT drops are the first two low-hanging fruit pieces for the auction style feature that I think are just most relevant for today, right? So we can run that, pretend you take out the karate combat stuff, put it in token piece, put the timers on everything, and everything starts really high and then starts to lower as time goes on, and people can kind of buy those in real time with one-click pieces into a smart contract, right? That's the new, while somebody as powerful as an Austin's talking about the utility pieces, that is the way to drive thousands of people to buy a token really, really quickly. And I think, you know, I don't know, maybe we try this with the project in the next few months, but in general, I do believe that's going to be super valuable, because the hype train is now directly in front of you, right? It's not pieces of Twitter and you're taking that information, you're consuming it, and you're like, oh God, the hype train can be right in front of you, right? Which is, I think, for projects is very, very valuable, especially projects that have, you know, very similar to ours, that have a bunch of technology behind it. And it's hard to aggregate that narrative into one, you know, strong narrative without somebody who understands all the moving pieces in front of you. I think that's going to be really, really powerful for those types of projects.
And hey, and again, I'm definitely going into noob land here, but from an experience perspective, right? So Austin, I remember the last discussion on the debate, you're talking about the data, the power of the data, right? And being able to have data being sent to where it needs to go. So in that exact example, instead of you zooming in on people at the bid level, right, where you're seeing people bid, in that example, what you have next to you as you're talking about the hype train is you actually have visualization of the blockchains coming in right then and there. So now you're showing like a CNN or a CNBC stock ticker experience to your right. You're talking about it, and then the offerings happening right down there for people to take action on. That's your like closed loop trifecta there, and everyone's watching it at the same time. So there's also an element of fairness, right? No one's getting front run or whatever, right? Everyone's consuming information at the same time. So that in itself, to me, as a Web3 noob, but as a data head, seems to be a very cool experiential use case for this industry.
What I love about these demos, I guess we'll call them demos that we're doing, you know, from a communication standpoint, it's a little bit more difficult to take tech that is only limited by the imagination of the user and paint a picture how it can be used. But from a actual utility, actual real world use case, actually, especially in Web3, it is the golden goose. And so I hope we can do more of these, because I have such a blast. And if you have any more signed gloves, I'll probably buy them. Other than that, we can wrap it up. I think we did a great job, boys. All right, everybody. My name's Austin. With me is Bart from the CEO of Super Streaming. Wow, I can't talk today. And Jeff from Taunt Network. And we're going to get the hell out of here. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bart. See you soon.
Thanks, guys.